everyone for taking some time to talk to us today. We're all looking forward to just check in with our friends at Chip Ganassi Racing and see how things have been going.
I'm Julian Robertson. I'm the engineering manager at Chip Ganassi Racing, and I'm also the race engineer for Felix in the 10 car.
My name is Lee, and I'm the spotter for the 10 car for the Chip Ganassi Racing team.
Super. And now, Felix, I think all of us know that you are the reigning 2019 Rookie of the Year for the NTT INDYCAR Series, and you are the driver of the number 10 NTT Data Honda for Chip Ganassi Racing. But why don't you tell those viewers a little bit about yourself and introduce yourself for the team?
Yeah, as you say, I'm the driver for the number 10 NTT Data Honda car. I've been with the team now for 2 years. I joined last year in my first year in IndyCar. As you said, had a pretty good rookie season. Going into the second season, I feel like we had a really good, leading up to the season start, and we were really hungry to get going there in St. Pete before everything got cancelled. But yeah, I still feel like we're continuing on that flow that we had last year, and just ready to get going again.
That's great. And Felix, let's stay a little bit on St. Pete. So you were in race mode. So you went from race mode to stop mode as a racer. What was that like for you?
Obviously, as an athlete, you kind of during the off season you start building up, and you start resting after the last race, and then you build up yourself again, and you picture yourself how it's going to be when you get going again, and you're obviously want to see how you develop during the off season, all the thoughts you had about the car and your driving and the way you worked and interacted with the team, how that's going to pay off. So I think the first race is that one that everyone is really excited to just see where they are, and obviously when they canceled one day before we will finally get to know it, it's a pretty weird thing, so we just tried to push the stop button.
There's a little bit of a rumor around the internet that you've been in this iRacing game for a long time because you had such a really cool rig that people were a little bit jealous of at first. So have you been a gamer? Is virtual racing something that has been part of your world previously?
Yes and no. I certainly did fiddle with it back in the days when I did Formula 3 quite a lot because I didn't know the tracks. So it was pretty new back then that you could download tracks from the internet, and it was just tracks that people had uploaded for free. So they weren't always that good and detailed, but you could always get an idea of how they turned and where you were going next week. And so I definitely did that to learn tracks. Then I had a long break, probably 5-6 years until this winter when the IndyCar season has a really long break. So I was thinking about ideas how you can keep mentally in the game and how you can improve yourself. So I decided to buy a simulator. I think also for fun, it's because we love racing, and it doesn't matter which form you do it. It's just fun to drive something. And I built a rig in January, and that was pretty good timing with everything that happened, because once Corona came, everyone just started building simulators, and it was just sold out everywhere. So I was pretty happy with my decision there. And then obviously the whole thing started. So I think I had a little bit of head start compared to most drivers, but once we got going for 1 or 2 weeks, it was all kind of leveled because everyone just started putting a lot of hours. Like I probably put over my lifetime, 90% of my sim hours are from this year, definitely.
That's funny. And Julian, from your perspective, the drivers really started racing on their own in a virtual world, and then NBC got on board. And so then it seemed like teams started to get involved in this virtual racing or this iRacing 6-week scenario. What was that like from your perspective when the team got involved in the virtual racing?
The first race or so, the drivers pretty much took care of it themselves. There wasn't a lot of strategy required, or the strategy was fairly straightforward. And then I think kind of race 2, it became apparent that the strategy wasn't so easy. So all the engineers started piling in, and it was true for our team, and it was true for pretty much every team. because we allocated the race engineer and the spotter to each driver right away. And then a bunch of the other engineers, like assistant engineers, got involved. And before you knew it, when you logged onto iRacing, you saw the whole of our team logged on and a number of engineers from other teams. And we were hitting the limit that iRacing had set on number of people who could externally access each race event or each practice event pretty early, with all the team's engineers piling in. So it got really serious really quickly.
Some of the teams were really visible with the support staff that they had helping their drivers or with their drivers. Some of them were doing Twitch streams. I think more what Ganassi was doing is a little bit behind the scenes, but were you actually spotting for Felix during any of the iRacing events?
But it's kind of funny because I watched the first race and I just sent a text to Felix joking around and I go, "Are you sore from your virtual race?" And he texts back, "My wrists are kind of sore." And so, because he can change the force in his steering wheel, so I guess he had apparently set kind of high. So he texted back, "Hey, we're going to do another race weekend. Do you want to join?" It's like, all right. So then I had to going to scrounge like the other drivers and get all the equipment to do that. So I had to go get a computer because my computer was too old. It wouldn't run on so then I got a mouse and I got a headset. So I'm doing all the stuff from Best Buy, doing the drive up pickup stuff so that I can get ready for the following race. So that's how I sort of got involved.
Cool. Felix, do you think there's anything from iRacing beyond maybe scratching that competitive itch that you as an athlete and a competitor have? Is there anything actionable, like anything that you learned from your iRacing experience that you think will help you as you get ready for real racing?
Yeah, I think the most important thing was working with Lee. I think that was the number one thing because we have very limited running on ovals during the season, and ovals have been the main area where I feel like I need to improve. And just having those hours with Lee, every lap I did out there was with Lee and Julian in my ear. So I think that was definitely something that was directly you could just translate it straight to the racetrack because it's the same thing. You have a car in your blind spot and Lee would tell you he's there, and then you can sort of adjust. You can discuss how you want to change that communication to make it better every time. And we had a lot of discussions and talks even after and before the sessions. It was really good. And I think just communicating with the team in general, having Julian there, actually, we had a big Ganassi group on Discord, and we would just bunch up in one of the groups before the sessions. We were like 15, 20 people there, and discussing things, talking about everyday stuff. Just the things that makes you a team. So I think it was really good. Not only for me, even for Marcus, who was new to the team. He had a chance to get to know everyone in a different way. So overall, it was a very good thing for sure.
That's great. And Julian, is there any actionable data? You talked about how the engineers got involved and strategy started to come into play, but is there any strategy or any tricks that you learn from your perspective of the competition that actually is translatable into a real life racing scenario?
Yeah, to a certain extent, it was like real racing. By the time we got to the race, everybody was keyed up as if it were a real one, aiming to win it. We needed a whole load of different tools because, like communication, we used Discord to talk on. We soon realized that you could collect data from the iRacing cars. So we downloaded the Motec data system, which is one of the data systems we use in motor racing, so we could look at all the data. Then we used the same timing and scoring system we used at the real tracks. The guy who writes that wrote an interface for iRacing for it. So pretty soon it was set up exactly like we would at a race weekend, except we were operating from our individual homes, and every 5 minutes we were downloading the latest, greatest software. So to a certain extent, it was like preparing for real races.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate your time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. See you soon.
Bye.
Stay safe, you
Bye-bye.
crazy rookies behind you.
Yeah.
So thank you to all of our friends at Chip Ganassi Racing for joining us today. We really appreciate you taking this time. Look forward to continuing the conversation on this and other topics as we pivot into the next stage of the new normal, and looking forward to seeing a lot of success for the number 10 NTT Data Honda in 2020.